Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm trying something different. I've never done this before, so this is going to be a learning experience for the both of us. So my sister-in-law just got married to her longtime boyfriend. I don't know if that makes him my brother-in-law. The husband of my sister-in-law, my sister-in-law's husband. He wanted me to make him a new pair of grips for his 1911. So if you're unfamiliar with what a 1911 is, it's a pistol, it's a handgun, a semi-automatic, usually about that big. It can be chambered in different round sizes, but I feel like most of them are 45. But anyway, he wanted me to make him a new pair of grips. So that's what I'm going to do. When I went up for the wedding about a month ago, he gave me these to bring back with me. These are the grips that originally came on his 1911. So I'm not going to be doing any kind of texturing or anything like that, but I am going to be making a nice pair of wooden grips, or attempting to at least. So he was able to get a couple of samples of wood that are pretty much a good size to do grips out of. He was able to get English walnut. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm not that familiar with English walnut, but I think it looks pretty good. The other one he was able to get was American walnut, and it's figured American walnut. And these are actually bookmark end pieces. So basically bookmark pieces, if you're unfamiliar with that term, it just means the grain goes continuously from one piece to the next. You know, it looks really nice. So he gave me both of these to try to make grips with, and I'm going to do one out of each set. This one's the one I'm going to start with, the American walnut, and that's only because this one's actually thick enough to where I can make two sets. So since I've never done this before, if I screw up the first set, this is the one I want to screw it up on. So I'm going to start with the American walnut, see how that goes. If it goes well, then I'll do the same thing for the English walnut. But the first thing that I want to do is actually get my jointer out, and I want to joint a face and an edge of this because honestly, this is some pretty rough, these are some pretty rough pieces. There's nothing that's straight on any side of this. So I just want to get a nice even playing field to start off with. I'm already pretty inexperienced, so I need all the help I can get. So let's get to jointing.
So first I flatten one face on each piece of wood. Once I have a face flat on each piece, I use that face to reference against my jointer fence, and then flatten an edge on each of the pieces. Now that I have some flat reference points on these blocks, I need to resaw these pieces down to the rough thickness for the grips. I'll sneak up on the actual thickness later with my sander. While I'm cutting these down here, I just want to take a second and thank you guys for watching my video. I truly appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch me act like I know what I'm doing on here. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave me a like on here and subscribe so you don't miss my next big project. Also, follow me over on Instagram for some behind the scenes footage and early peeks at what I'm making. Once again, thank you guys so much and enjoy the rest of the video.
Alright, so I cut these little templates out. I just used these and kind of traced around them. And I have them on a couple of sheets of paper here. I'm going to do two more for the other walnut species, and then I'm going to use some spray adhesive and attach these to the wooden blocks and trace them out on the bandsaw. Alright guys, I got these cut out for each species. I kind of lost track which one's which. Ah, look at that. They're actually next to each other. Alright, so this is the English walnut. This is the American figured walnut right here. And now if you can see, I got close to the line mostly, but I left some spaces on some of these here. So I'm going to sand it down to the line and just try to clean it up a little bit. So it looks like they're starting to actually take shape though. I'm kind of impressed with myself. So let's get to sanding. Alright guys, I got this down to the general thickness of the grips that I'm going to be replacing over on my my makeshift belt sander. If you didn't catch that, that was literally just a belt sander that I turned upside down and used it. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, that's a tip that I learned. I think I learned that from John Peters actually. So thank you, John. And you just got to use what you have. Got the thickness down. Now I just need to get the shape correct. So let me line this up. There we go. So I've gotten the rough shape pretty much cut out just from the bandsaw. But if you look, I don't know if you guys can see. Can you see YouTube? Anyway, whether you can or not, there's a little white edge that goes around right here. So it's just a little bit too big. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a Dremel, and by a Dremel I mean Drill Master 3000. And go around this shape here, this grip, so I can make it get as close as possible to the original grips. And yeah, I'm going to do that for each of these, and we'll see how it goes. Caveat, I have never used any kind of Dremel tool before, so this is my first go at this. And yeah, if I suck with it, then I know what I need to work on. First things first though, guys, I will be probably throwing some sawdust up in the air. So I want to make sure I've got my respirator and my goggles. Which way does this go? Okay. Also, I had to shut my garage door because it is way too daggone hot in Texas today. Yeah, so if the lighting's a little off, I'm sorry. Whew. Alright guys, so just from looking at the first one here, so you might still be able to see just a little bit of white right through here, but that is just the paper that didn't rip off because it's kind of pinched right there. But I think I've got the shape pretty spot on. I'm going to do a smaller drum sander attachment on there, and I'm just going to go in this little nook right here. I think this is, I don't know if that's for safety or what. I don't actually have the Firearm here with me. It's up in Indiana, but I don't know what that cutout's for, but I'm going to make sure I get it nice and smooth with a smaller drum sanding attachment. But I am blown away at how easy this was. This is, woo! All right. I do want to give some credit to a guy on YouTube. His name is Woodcraft Hamster. So he's on YouTube. I think he's British, Australian, I don't know, I couldn't tell, but love his accent. If you want another way of doing this, or you want to see someone else do it slightly different, then go check him out. He did a great job, and I appreciate the help. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of these, and then we'll get back to it after I do that.
Here I used an awl to get the center point for the holes that I need to drill to accept the screws. You can see it leaves a very clear indicator to tell me where to place my drill bit. Then I clamp each grip down to my workbench with the original grip on top and drill through the holes. And straight into my workbench. This is why I can't have nice things. But the holes in the grips look great. Alright guys, I got everything cut out to shape. I've got everything sized perfectly, or I wouldn't say perfectly, but I've got it sized as well as I can. I've got the holes drilled, I've got them countersunk. Now all I've got to do is give this a rounded shape so it's comfortable to hold in your hand, right? So I'm going to use the Dremel for that again, and I'm just going to go up and down the sides and just kind of try to give it a little concave face here. And we'll see how that works. It worked pretty well on the side, so hopefully it works well on the face of it. Let's try it.
Alright guys, so I've got the first one finished and I am pretty daggone happy with it. I think it looks very similar to the one that I'm mimicking it off of. It feels really nice, the curve is really nice, it feels good in my hand. I think I was able to get it pretty good. I did the Dremel on both sides, and then I ended up actually just hand sanding and with some 80 grit, and that really helped plow through a lot of that for shaping. I've touched it with 120. I'm going to do all the rest of them, and then I'm going to go over and do 220 along the edges, so that way that they're not sharp and you don't, hurt yourself when you're grabbing the gun. But yeah, so I'm actually going to probably call it a night, and then I'll come back and finish the rest tomorrow.
Alright guys, that was a lot of sanding and shaping. That's probably the most shaping I've ever done, at least, but I'm very happy with the result. I think that they look excellent. So we have the English walnut here, and the shape is fully formed now. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but yeah, they look great. And then you have the American figured walnut right here. Yeah, so like I said, the shape is completely finished. Now all I need to do is go over it with some 120. So I'm just going to replace this with a 120, and I'm just going to go over all of these and just kind of take the sharp edges off, because right now the edges are kind of sharp and the corners and curves are kind of sharp. So I just want to go over all of this and smooth it out and just give it a nice smooth feel with some 120. Yeah, that's the next step. Go up and grip. Okay, now I've wiped down all of these with a tack cloth. And next, I'm going to wipe them all down with mineral spirits, just to make sure that I get all of the dust off them before I finish them. And I'll be finishing them with tung oil. I really think tung oil gives these grips a rich, earthy look that I think will look beautiful on a 1911.
Alright guys, the tung oil has been applied and I have buffed it off, and this side over here is the American figured walnut, and this side over here is the English walnut. So you can kind of see here. I think they turned out pretty awesome. So I'm really excited to see what it's going to look like once I get the second coat on. I'll do that tomorrow night. I have to wait 24 hours before I can put the second coat on, but I'm excited. I'll probably put, I don't know, 3 or 4 coats on total. So I'll get those other coats on, and then I'll show you guys what it's going to look like when it's all said and done.
Alright guys, that's a wrap. So I'm done with the finishing. I used tung oil and I did 5 coats per grip, and I think that they came out looking very nice. Let me just bring one close so you can see. Yeah, that is beautiful. Anyway, so we have 2 sets of grips. We have the English walnut and the American figured walnut. And I honestly, it's hard to pick a favorite. I really, really like the figured walnut. But if I had to pick one, I think I would go with the English walnut. Just, I love the dark like swirls that are in this wood. I don't know, it's just adds more character to it, I think. So, but they're both beautiful. So this is where we started, like, you know, your regular cheap plastic grips that come with the 1911. This is where we ended. Beautiful English walnut, beautiful American figured walnut, just walnut, beautiful walnut. So like I said, I got 2 sets of grips out of it. I was hoping that I could get another set of grips out of the English walnut, I think it was. But yeah, the English walnut, but it wasn't thick enough after I had to plane it down to make sure everything was, you know, straight. It wasn't quite thick enough. It was close, but no cigar. But now all that's left to do is to mail the grips up to my sister-in-law's husband and let him put them to action. And hopefully, I'm really hoping that these holes line up perfectly with his firearm, because it looks like they do, but I don't have the 1911 here to try it out myself. So hopefully that works. If not, we might have to make the holes a little bigger. So if you guys enjoyed following along my project here, make sure you subscribe so you can catch my future projects. I have a couple of things in the works. My next project's going to be much larger than this. So that's a teaser for you. It's going to be something much, much larger than this. I've never actually tried this next project before, but I think it's going to turn out really well. I'm really excited to start it, and I know my wife's really excited to start it. So make sure you guys subscribe and stay tuned so that way you don't miss it. I think you're really going to like it. As a matter of fact, if you've liked any of my other builds, I know you're going to love it. Oh, also, if you actually would like to follow along with my process in between the YouTube videos that I release, make sure you go over and check me out on Instagram. I'll put my handle here somewhere. But it's at Bentley Design Co. And you guys can see the process as I'm making these grips and as I'm making my next project and all future projects. I actually post process pictures as I'm going through the steps and even some behind the scenes Instagram stories. So make sure you guys go over there and check it out if you're interested. I would love to have you there, and I'll see you over there. But wrapping it all up, there's really nothing else left to say other than until the next time I see you guys in the shop, keep making sawdust.